Welcome everyone, dear listeners. It's a pleasure to have you with us today. Please leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our future stories. Now, let's begin our tale. The year 536 AD unfolded under a shroud of mystery, an era when the world seemed to hold its breath, suspended in a time of uncertainty and shadows. It was a year that historians would later dub one of the worst years to be alive, a time when nature itself seemed to conspire against the fragile tapestry of human existence. As the sun struggled to pierce through the dense veil of ash and dust that lingered ominously in the sky, the earth below lay cloaked in an eerie twilight. The light was muted, casting long, indistinct shadows over landscapes that appeared as if caught between waking and dreaming. In this strange, dim world, the air was thick with an unsettling stillness, punctuated only by the rustling of leaves and the distant calls of creatures unseen. The air bore a metallic tang, a constant reminder of the volcanic eruptions that had spewed their fury into the heavens, blotting out the sun and turning day into a lingering dusk. The very atmosphere seemed to vibrate with an ancient, unspoken tension, a whisper of the earth's restless spirit. In a small village nestled within a verdant valley, life continued its slow, deliberate march. The villagers, hardy souls accustomed to the whims of nature, now found themselves grappling with a world turned upside down. Their fields, once lush and fertile, now lay fallow, the crops stunted and withered from lack of sunlight. The rivers, once teeming with life, had grown sluggish, their waters reflecting the ashen sky with a haunting clarity. Amidst this backdrop of uncertainty, a young woman named Alara moved through the village with quiet determination. Her presence was a source of comfort for the villagers, her spirit a beacon of resilience in these dark times. Alara was known for her gentle wisdom and her ability to coax life from the earth, her hands capable of turning barren soil into a garden of abundance. Yet even she found herself at a loss, her heart heavy with worry as she tended to the ailing plants and whispered prayers to the unseen forces that governed their fate. Alara's life was intertwined with the rhythms of nature, her days marked by the rise and fall of the sun, the cycles of growth and decay. She had learned to listen to the whispers of the wind, to read the signs written in the patterns of the stars. But now, with the sky obscured and the stars hidden from view, she felt adrift, untethered from the ancient wisdom that had guided her ancestors. As the days stretched into weeks, the village began to feel the true weight of the year 536. Food became scarce, the stores of grain dwindling with each passing day. The once vibrant marketplace, a hub of color and sound, now lay silent, its stalls empty, save for a few meager offerings. The villagers moved like shadows through the streets, their faces etched with worry, their voices hushed as if afraid to disturb the fragile peace that hung over them. In the evenings, the villagers would gather around fires, their flickering flames casting ghostly patterns on the walls of their homes. It was during these moments that stories were shared, tales of times long past, when the world was bright and full of promise. The stories were a balm for their weary souls, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit could endure. Alara often found herself at the center of these gatherings, her voice weaving tales of ancient heroes and forgotten lands, her words painting vivid pictures of worlds untouched by the shadow that now enveloped them. Yet even as she spoke, her mind would wander, her thoughts drifting to the mysteries that lay beyond the village, to the distant mountains that loomed like sentinels against the horizon. It was said that the mountains held secrets, their peaks shrouded in mist and legend. Some whispered of hidden valleys where the sun still shone brightly, where the air was sweet and the land abundant. Others spoke of ancient ruins, remnants of a lost civilization that had once thrived in harmony with the earth. Alara found herself drawn to these tales, her heart yearning for answers, for a glimpse of hope in a world overshadowed by despair. One night, as the fire burned low and the villagers began to drift away into the embrace of sleep, Alara lingered by the embers, her gaze fixed on the distant horizon. The fire's glow danced in her eyes, reflecting the flicker of determination that had taken root in her heart. She knew that she could no longer remain passive, that she must seek out the truths hidden within the mountains, must uncover the secrets that could restore life to her ailing village. The following morning, Alara set out on her journey, her path guided by the whispers of the wind and the call of the unknown. She moved with a quiet grace, her footsteps light upon the earth, her senses attuned to the rhythm of the world around her. The landscape unfolded before her like a living tapestry, each step revealing new wonders, new challenges. As she ventured deeper into the wilderness, the air grew cooler, the shadows longer. The forest embraced her with its ancient limbs, the trees standing like guardians of a forgotten world. Here, amidst the towering giants, Alara felt a deep connection to the earth, a sense of belonging that filled her with a quiet strength. It was as if the forest itself recognized her quest, offering its guidance and protection as she pressed onward. The days flowed into one another, a seamless blend of light and shadow, of discovery and reflection. Alara's journey was marked by moments of profound beauty and unexpected challenges, each experience shaping her understanding of the world and her place within it. She moved through landscapes that seemed to breathe with life, each step a testament to the resilience of nature, to the enduring spirit of the earth. Yet amidst the tranquility, there lingered a sense of suspense, an undercurrent of tension that thrummed beneath the surface. Alara could feel it in the shifting patterns of the wind, in the sudden silence of the forest, in the watchful gaze of unseen eyes. It was as if the very fabric of the world held its breath, waiting for a moment of revelation, for the unveiling of secrets long buried. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of crimson and gold, Alara found herself standing at the edge of a vast clearing. Before her lay the remnants of an ancient ruin, its stones worn by time and weather, yet still echoing with the whispers of a forgotten past. She felt a thrill of anticipation, her heart quickening as she stepped into the clearing, her footsteps echoing in the stillness. The ruins exuded a timeless majesty, their presence a testament to the ingenuity and spirit of those who had come before. As Alara explored the weathered stones and intricate carvings, she sensed a story waiting to be uncovered, a truth that had endured despite the passage of centuries. She marveled at the delicate artistry etched into the rock, the symbols and patterns that spoke of a culture attuned to the rhythms of the earth, to the cycles of growth and renewal. In the fading light, Alara discovered a stone altar at the heart of the ruins, its surface inscribed with a language she did not understand but felt deeply connected to. As she traced the carvings with her fingers, a sense of clarity washed over her, a realization that these ruins held the key to restoring balance to her village, to reigniting the spark of life that had been dimmed by the relentless shadow. With renewed purpose, Alara vowed to uncover the mysteries of the ruins, to unlock the secrets that lay hidden within the stones. She knew that her journey was far from over, that the road ahead would be fraught with challenges and revelations. Yet, in that moment, standing amidst the echoes of the past, she felt a profound sense of hope, a belief that the light would return, that the world would once again bask in the warmth of the sun's embrace. As the moon rose high above the silhouetted peaks, bathing the landscape in its ethereal glow, Alara gathered her thoughts, allowing the whispers of the wind to guide her. The night was alive with the sounds of the forest, the gentle rustle of leaves mingling with the distant cry of an owl, creating a symphony of nature that lulled her into a meditative state. The ruins, though silent, seemed to pulse with a latent energy, a reminder of a time when they stood vibrant and whole. Alara's breath mingled with the cool night air, her heart a steady drumbeat, echoing the pulse of the earth itself. She let her fingers linger on the stone altar, feeling the cool hardness beneath her touch, a testament to its endurance through the ages. The carvings seemed to shimmer under the moonlight, their lines and curves speaking a language older than time, a dialect of the soul. Determined to delve deeper into the enigma of the ruins, Alara settled herself beside the altar, her back resting against the ancient stone. She closed her eyes, allowing the rhythm of the place to seep into her bones, inviting the spirits of the past to share their stories. Images flickered behind her eyelids, scenes of a people who thrived in harmony with the land, who celebrated the cycles of life and death with reverence and joy. As the night wore on, Alara's mind drifted into a dreamlike state where the boundaries between the present and the past blurred into one. She envisioned a great gathering, a celebration of light and life, where the villagers danced around the altar, their laughter rising to meet the stars. She saw their faces, etched with lines of wisdom and joy, their eyes alight with the fire of life. And she felt their hope, their unwavering belief in the cycles that governed their world. Suddenly, a shadow flitted across her vision, a darkness that crept in from the edges, threatening to engulf the light. The joyous celebration faltered, a hush falling over the crowd as they turned their gaze skyward. The sun, once a golden beacon, was shrouded in a veil of ash and smoke, its warmth stolen away by a force unseen yet palpably felt. The villagers' faces mirrored Alara's own fear and confusion, their joyous dance stilled by the ominous shadow that loomed overhead. Alara's eyes flew open, her heart hammering in her chest as the vision faded into the cool tranquility of the night. She sat up, her breath coming in ragged gasps as she grappled with the weight of what she had witnessed. The ruins, silent witnesses to a forgotten past, held the answer to the darkness that had befallen her world. And she, the unwitting seeker, was tasked with unraveling their mystery. With the first light of dawn, Alara rose from her perch, her resolve steeled by the vivid dream that lingered at the edge of her consciousness. She knew that the answers she sought lay hidden within the inscriptions, in the stories carved into the stone by hands long turned to dust. As she set to work, she felt the presence of those ancient people beside her, their hope and resilience coursing through her veins. Days turned into weeks as Alara meticulously studied the carvings, her fingers tracing the intricate lines with a blend of reverence and determination. She scoured the forest for clues, collecting fragments of pottery and shards of bone, piecing together the mosaic of a civilization lost to time. Each discovery, no matter how small, brought her closer to understanding the message left by those who came before. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Alara sat by the altar, her mind alight with the knowledge she had gathered. She felt the weight of their story, the ebb and flow of their lives, as tangible as the stones beneath her feet. And she realized that their legacy was not one of despair, but of resilience, of a people who faced the darkness with courage and unity. Emboldened by this revelation, Alara began to decipher the symbols, her mind attuned to the rhythm of their language. She read of rituals that celebrated the cycles of the earth, of offerings made to the spirits of the land, beseeching their protection and guidance. She learned of ceremonies held at the change of seasons, where fire and song warded off the encroaching night, where the light of hope was kindled anew. Yet, as she delved deeper, she uncovered tales of a great cataclysm, a time when the sun was blotted out by a shroud of darkness, plunging the world into a winter that seemed endless. The inscription spoke of a struggle, of a people who fought to survive in a world turned cold and barren, who clung to the light within their hearts, even as the sun's warmth was stolen away. It was then that Alara understood the true nature of her quest. The darkness that had enveloped her village was but a shadow of a greater force, a cycle that had repeated through the ages, testing the resilience of those who dwelt beneath the sky. The ruins, with their stories etched in stone, were a testament to the enduring spirit of humanity, a beacon of hope that transcended time. With this newfound understanding, Alara set her mind to the task of reviving the rituals of old, of rekindling the flame that had once burned brightly in the hearts of her ancestors. She gathered the villagers, sharing with them the tales she had unearthed, the stories of courage and hope that had guided her through the darkness. Together, they reconstructed the ceremonies, weaving together the fragments of the past with the threads of the present, creating a tapestry of light and life. They danced around the altar, their voices rising in song, echoing the chants of those who had come before. They lit fires to ward off the night, to summon the warmth of the sun, believing with all their hearts in the power of their unity. As the flames leaped into the night sky, Alara felt the presence of the ancients beside her, their whispers a gentle breeze that stirred the leaves and danced through her hair. She knew that their spirit lived on, that their legacy was written not only in stone, but in the hearts of those who carried their story forward. And as the first rays of dawn broke over the horizon, casting a golden glow upon the earth, Alara stood among her people, her heart alight with the knowledge that the light had returned. The shadow of 536 had been but a chapter in their tale, a passage that led them to the dawn of a new era, where hope and resilience would guide them into the future. But the dawn was a fragile thing, its light tentative in a world still shrouded in uncertainty. The year 5536 had left deep scars upon the earth and its people, scars that would take generations to heal. Yet, within the hearts of those who had survived, a resilience had blossomed, fierce and unyielding, rooted in the soil of their shared suffering and triumph. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, painting the land with hues of amber and rose, Alara turned to face her people. They stood bathed in the morning light, their faces a tapestry of emotions, hope mingling with sorrow, joy tempered by the memory of loss. Their journey through the darkness had forged an unbreakable bond among them, a kinship born of shared trials and a collective resolve to rebuild what had been lost. Alara felt the weight of their trust upon her shoulders, a mantle she wore with quiet dignity. Her own journey had been one of transformation, from a girl bound by the confines of her fears to a woman who understood the power of courage and compassion. She had seen the fragility of life, its fleeting beauty, and the strength that lay in vulnerability. The village around them lay in quiet repose, the morning dew clinging to the leaves like tiny jewels. The fields, once barren and lifeless, now showed signs of renewal, tender shoots pushing through the soil, seeking the warmth of the sun. The people had begun to till the land once more, their hands working the earth with a reverence born of necessity and gratitude. Each seed they planted was a promise to the future, a testament to their belief in the cycle of life. Yet, as they toiled beneath the sun, the memory of the long winter still lingered in their minds, a shadow that refused to be entirely dispelled. The stories of the past year were etched in their hearts, tales of survival and sacrifice, of moments when hope had seemed a distant dream. They spoke of nights huddled together for warmth, of shared meals that were little more than scraps, of laughter that had been rare yet precious in its defiance of despair. Alara walked among them, her presence a comforting balm. She listened to their stories, their hopes and fears, offering words of encouragement and wisdom. Her voice was a soothing melody, weaving through the air like a gentle caress. She spoke of the ancients, of their resilience and their strength, drawing parallels between their struggles and the present. The ancients knew, she would say, her gaze sweeping over the gathered faces, that the darkness is but a part of the cycle, that it gives way to the light. It is in the darkness that we find our strength, in the shadows that we discover the flicker of hope that guides us forward. As the days passed, the village began to heal. The wounds of the past were tender, but the salve of community and shared purpose eased their pain. The people worked side by side, rebuilding their homes, their lives intertwined like the threads of a tapestry. They gathered each evening around the communal fire, sharing stories and songs, their laughter rising into the night like sparks from the flames. Yet, beneath the surface of this burgeoning renewal, a tension simmered, a sense of unease that none could quite name. It was as if the earth itself held its breath, waiting for something to break the fragile peace. Whispers of strange occurrences drifted through the village, tales of omens and signs that hinted at forces beyond their understanding. Alara felt the weight of these whispers, their tendrils wrapping around her heart with a chill she could not shake. She sensed a presence in the forest, a watchful eye that seemed to follow her steps. The birds sang a different tune, their calls sharp with warning, and the wind carried whispers in a language she could not decipher. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Alara found herself drawn to the forest. The trees stood tall and silent, their branches arching overhead like a cathedral roof. The air was thick with the scent of pine and earth, a heady perfume that wrapped around her like a cloak. She walked with purpose, her feet finding the familiar path that led to the heart of the wood. As she ventured deeper, the world around her shifted, the air shimmering with an otherworldly light. The forest seemed to pulse with life, a living entity that breathed and watched, its gaze both ancient and wise. Alara felt the presence of the ancients more keenly here, their whispers a song that thrummed in her blood. In the clearing, she found a circle of stones, their surfaces etched with runes that glowed faintly in the twilight. It was a place of power, a nexus where the veil between worlds was thin. Alara knelt at the center, her fingers grazing the cool surface of the stones, her heart open to the mysteries that lay beyond. A voice, soft as a sigh, brushed against her mind, a whisper of things unknown. It spoke of balance and harmony, of the delicate dance between light and shadow. Alara listened, her soul attuned to the rhythm of the earth, the pulse of creation that beat beneath her feet. The voice spoke of a path yet to be walked, a journey that would test her resolve and her heart. It spoke of allies and adversaries, of choices that would shape the destiny of her people. Alara felt the weight of its truth, the gravity of its message settling upon her like a mantle. As the night deepened, the vision faded, leaving Alara alone beneath the stars. She rose, her heart alight with purpose, her mind a whirl of possibilities. She knew that the path ahead would not be easy, that the trials of the past year were but a prelude to the challenges that awaited them. Yet she felt no fear, only a quiet determination. The ancients had walked this path before her, their footsteps a guide upon the shifting sands of time. Their strength was her strength, their wisdom a beacon that would light her way. Returning to the village, Alara found her people gathered around the fire, their faces turned toward her with a mixture of curiosity and trust. She spoke to them of the vision, of the journey that lay ahead, her voice a thread that wove their fates together. "We are the keepers of our story," she said, her eyes shining with the light of 1,000 stars. "We hold within us the power to shape our destiny, to forge a future that honors the past and embraces the promise of tomorrow." Her words ignited a spark within them, a flame that burned with the fire of determination. They rose as one, their voices a chorus that sang of hope and resilience, their hearts united in purpose. And so, beneath the vast expanse of the night sky, they began to walk their path, guided by the whispers of the ancients and the light of their own courage. The journey was theirs to shape, the story theirs to tell, a tale of light and shadow, of loss and renewal, a testament to the indomitable spirit of those who dared to dream beyond the darkness. As the night deepened, the ethereal glow of the moon bathed the land in a silvery luminescence, casting long shadows that danced along the forest floor. The air was crisp and carried with it the scent of pine and earth, a reminder of the world that thrived quietly beneath the suffocating veil of ash. Each step taken by the travelers resonated with the quiet resolve of those who knew their journey was not just a physical one, but a spiritual odyssey. The leader of the group, a woman with wisdom etched into the lines of her face, walked at the forefront, her staff a silent companion tapping against the ancient earth. Her name was Alara, a beacon of hope among her people, and her presence was a balm to the souls who followed her. She moved with a grace that belied the weight of responsibility she bore, each footfall a testament to her unwavering belief in the path they had chosen. As they traversed the woodland, the trees stood as silent sentinels, their branches whispering secrets in the language of the wind. The stars overhead, obscured only intermittently by the drifting ash, seemed to blink in a cosmic rhythm, a celestial dance that mirrored the hearts of those below. Alara's thoughts wandered to the tales of old, stories passed down through generations, tales of a time before the sky turned gray and the sun became a ghostly orb. These stories, fragments of a forgotten age, were woven into the very fabric of her being, guiding her steps through the uncertain terrain of her own day. It was in these moments, when the weight of the world threatened to overshadow the flickering flame of hope, that she found solace in the memories of her ancestors. Their voices, carried on the wind, spoke of resilience and fortitude, of a people who had faced adversity and emerged stronger for it. She imagined their hands, calloused and worn, reaching out to her through the veil of time, their touch a promise that she was not alone. The forest gave way to a clearing, where the land opened up to reveal a vista of rolling hills and distant mountains, their peaks shrouded in mist. The sight was a balm to weary eyes, a reminder of the beauty that persisted even in the midst of desolation. Here the group paused, their breath mingling with the cool night air, hearts beating in a shared rhythm of anticipation. Alara gathered her people around her once more, their faces illuminated by the ethereal glow of the moon. She spoke to them of the road ahead, of the challenges that lay in wait, her voice a gentle current that carried them forward. "We walk a path that is both ancient and new," she said, her words a melody that resonated with the depths of their souls. "In our journey, we carry with us the dreams of those who came before and the hopes of those who will come after. Let us remember that though the night is long, the dawn will break, and with it, a new day will come." Her words were met with a silence that spoke volumes, a silence that was not born of fear, but of reflection and resolve. Each person, in their own way, understood the weight of the journey, the significance of their steps in the tapestry of time. As they continued on their path, the night carried with it an air of anticipation, a sense that the world was holding its breath, waiting for something to shift in the cosmic dance of fate. The group moved as one, their collective spirit a beacon of light in the encroaching darkness. The forest around them was alive with the sounds of nocturnal creatures, the rustling of leaves, and the distant call of an owl echoing through the night. These sounds, once a backdrop to their lives, now served as a reminder of the delicate balance of nature, a balance that had been disrupted by forces beyond their control. Alara felt the pull of the earth beneath her feet, a connection that grounded her, even as her mind soared through the possibilities of what lay ahead. She knew that the journey was not just about reaching a destination, but about the transformation that occurred along the way. In the depths of the night, as the stars wheeled overhead in their eternal dance, Alara felt a sense of peace settle over her. It was a peace born of acceptance, of understanding that while she could not control the world around her, she could control how she chose to navigate it. The journey stretched before them, a ribbon of possibility that wound through the landscape of their lives. It was a journey that demanded much, yet offered even more. A journey that spoke to the heart of what it meant to be alive in a world that seemed intent on hiding its light. As they walked, the horizon began to lighten, the first hints of dawn painting the sky in hues of pink and gold. The sun, a reluctant monarch, began its ascent, casting away the shadows and revealing the beauty that lay hidden beneath the cloak of night. The travelers paused, their eyes fixed on the horizon, hearts lifted by the promise of a new day. In that moment, they understood that the journey was not just about survival, but about finding purpose and meaning in the midst of uncertainty. They were the keepers of their story, the architects of their destiny, and as the sun rose, they stepped into the light, ready to face whatever lay ahead with courage and hope. In the quiet that followed, the world seemed to breathe with them, a sigh of relief that echoed through the ages, a testament to the power of the human spirit to endure and thrive. And so, with the dawn as their witness, they continued their journey, each step a testament to the indomitable will of those who dared to dream beyond the darkness, who chose to walk a path that honored the past and embraced the promise of tomorrow. The landscape stretched before them, a tapestry woven with the threads of time and silence. The earth, still damp with the echoes of night, exhaled a mist that danced upon the air, whispering secrets of ages past. The travelers moved with a quiet purpose, their footsteps falling softly on the path that wound like a serpent through the rolling hills and ancient forests. Each step was a rhythmic heartbeat, a pulse that connected them to the land and to one another. They felt the earth beneath their feet, solid and reassuring, as if it too were a companion on their journey. The trees, tall and wise, stood as silent sentinels, their leaves rustling gently in the morning breeze, a chorus of whispers that spoke of resilience and renewal. The sky above was a vast canvas, painted with hues of amber and rose, the sun now a benevolent guardian, its warmth a balm for weary souls. The light spilled over the landscape, revealing the beauty that had been obscured by the veil of night. Fields of wildflowers unfurled their petals, a riot of color that danced with the wind, their fragrance a sweet reminder of life's simple pleasures. As they walked, the travelers shared stories, their voices weaving a tapestry of their own. Tales of distant lands and forgotten times, of love and loss, of dreams and despair. Each story was a thread, binding them closer, a reminder that they were not alone in the vastness of the world. They spoke of their hopes and fears, of the challenges they had faced and those yet to come. In the telling, there was healing, a catharsis that soothed the soul and fortified the spirit. For in sharing their burdens, they found strength in one another, a camaraderie that transcended the boundaries of time and place. They were a family forged in adversity, a testament to the enduring power of human connection. The path led them to a clearing, a place where the earth seemed to pause and catch its breath. Here, a stream sang its eternal song, its waters clear and cool, a mirror reflecting the sky above. The travelers paused, drawn to the water's edge, their reflections mingling with the gentle flow. One among them, a young woman with eyes like the summer sky, knelt by the stream. She cupped her hands, gathering the water, and drank deeply. The coolness refreshed her, a liquid reprieve from the heat of the day. She smiled, her heart lightened by the simple act of drinking, of nourishing her body and spirit. Nearby, an elder watched her, his gaze thoughtful. He was a man who had seen many seasons, his face etched with the lines of a life well lived. His eyes, dark and deep as the forest shadows, held a wisdom that came from years of observing the world in all its beauty and brutality. "Water," he said, his voice a rumble like distant thunder, "is a gift we too often take for granted. It sustains us, purifies us, and in its depths it holds the mystery of life itself." The young woman nodded, her expression one of understanding. She had learned much from the elder, his words a guiding light through the darkness of uncertainty. He had taught her to listen to the world, to find meaning in the seemingly mundane, and to cherish the moments that might otherwise slip away unnoticed. They lingered by the stream, savoring the tranquility of the clearing, the harmony of nature's symphony. Birds called to one another from the treetops, their songs a counterpoint to the gentle murmur of the water. The sun, now high in the sky, cast dappled shadows that danced upon the forest floor, a mosaic of light and dark. But even in this haven of peace, there lingered a shadow, a reminder of the world beyond the clearing, a world that had been turned upside down. The air, though clear, carried with it a memory of the past year's darkness, when the sun had been but a ghost, its light swallowed by the mists of time. The travelers knew well the stories of that fateful year, when the skies had darkened and the earth had grown cold. Crops had withered and famine had stalked the land, a relentless specter that spared none in its hunger. The very air had seemed to grow heavy with despair, a suffocating shroud that choked hope and cast a pall over the future. Yet, even in the midst of such desolation, there had been moments of light, of defiance against the darkness. Communities had banded together, seeking solace in one another, sharing what little they had. Acts of kindness, small yet profound, had blossomed like wildflowers in the barren soil, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. And now, as they journeyed through the renewed landscape, the travelers carried with them the lessons of that time. They knew that the world was a fragile place, its beauty and bounty not to be taken for granted. They understood that life was precious, a gift to be cherished and nurtured. As the sun began its descent, painting the sky with hues of gold and crimson, the travelers knew it was time to move on. They gathered their belongings, their hearts full with the memories of the day, and continued along the path. The way was not easy, for the road was long and fraught with challenges. Yet with each step, they felt a growing sense of purpose, a conviction that they were part of something greater than themselves. They were the keepers of stories, the bearers of dreams, and as they walked, they carried with them the promise of a brighter tomorrow. The forest gave way to open fields, where the grass swayed like a sea of green, whispering secrets to the wind. The travelers moved with a quiet determination, their eyes fixed on the horizon, where the sun dipped low, casting the world in a soft golden glow. And as night fell, they paused once more, gathering around a fire that flickered and danced, its flames a beacon in the encroaching darkness. They spoke of the day, of the beauty they had witnessed, and the challenges they had overcome. In the quiet of the night, with the stars as their witness, they found comfort in one another, a warmth that banished the chill of uncertainty. They were a family, bound by a shared journey, their hearts united by hope and courage. And so beneath the vast canopy of the night sky, they rested, their dreams a tapestry of light and shadow, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always the promise of dawn. As the first light of dawn began to spill over the horizon, painting the sky in hues of lavender and rose, the travelers stirred from their slumber. The world around them was shrouded in a delicate mist, the air crisp and filled with the scent of dew-kissed earth. Birds began to sing their morning songs, a symphony of hope that harmonized with the gentle rustle of leaves. It was a new day, a chance to continue their journey toward the promise of a better tomorrow. The path ahead was uncertain, yet their spirits were buoyed by the beauty that surrounded them. Every step they took was a testament to their resilience, their determination to find a place where they could rebuild and thrive. As they walked, the landscape unfurled like a scroll, revealing valleys and hills bathed in the soft light of the morning sun. Each turn of the path brought new wonders, the world alive with possibility. Among the travelers was Alara, a woman with eyes that mirrored the sky, deep and filled with stars. Her presence was a calming balm to the group, her wisdom and strength a guiding light. She moved gracefully, each step purposeful, her gaze always set on the horizon. Beside her walked Caden, a man of quiet strength and gentle demeanor, his laughter a warm embrace that lifted the hearts of those around him. As the sun climbed higher, the travelers paused by a clear, bubbling brook, its waters singing as they tumbled over smooth, time-worn stones. The group gathered to drink and refresh themselves, their conversations light and filled with laughter. It was in these moments, brief yet profound, that they found solace and a sense of normalcy amidst the chaos that had become their world. Alara watched as a young girl, Isla, danced along the water's edge, her laughter a melody that echoed in the still morning air. Isla was a reminder of innocence and joy, her spirit untainted by the hardships they faced. Watching her, Alara felt a renewed sense of purpose, a reminder of why they continued to push forward despite the odds stacked against them. As the sun reached its zenith, the group resumed their journey, the path leading them through a dense forest where the trees stood tall and ancient, their branches forming a protective canopy overhead. The air was cool and filled with the earthy scent of pine and moss. Sunlight filtered through the leaves, casting dappled patterns on the forest floor, a dance of light and shadow that mesmerized the travelers as they walked. But beneath the beauty, there was a tension that threaded through the group, a whisper of unease that could not be ignored. The world was changing in ways they could not yet comprehend, the very fabric of their existence unraveling with each passing day. The skies, once a canvas of vivid blues and whites, were now often shrouded in a veil of gray, the sun a distant memory obscured by the ash that lingered in the atmosphere. This was the legacy of the Great Cataclysm, a time of upheaval and uncertainty. The year 536 had brought with it a darkness that stretched across the land, a veil that seemed impenetrable. Volcanoes had erupted with furious abandon, their plumes of ash and sulfur blotting out the sun and casting the world into a chill that seeped into the bones. Crops withered and died, and famine tightened its grip on the land, leaving communities to grapple with the specter of hunger. The journey of the travelers was not just a physical one, but a spiritual quest for hope and renewal. Each step was a defiance against the despair that threatened to consume them. They carried with them stories of survival and endurance, tales of communities that had found ways to adapt and endure in the face of adversity. One evening, as they made camp beneath the sheltering branches of an ancient oak, the group gathered around their fire once more. The flames danced and flickered, casting long shadows that seemed to stretch into eternity. It was there, in the circle of warmth and light, that Alara began to speak. Her voice was soft, yet carried with it the weight of her conviction, each word a thread in the tapestry of their shared experience. She spoke of the old world, of the times before the darkness fell, when the sun shone brightly and the earth was bountiful. She spoke of her dreams, of the vision she held for a future where light and life would return to the land. But the path to that future is not easy, Alara said, her eyes reflecting the firelight. We must be as steadfast as the mountains and as adaptable as the rivers. We must find strength in one another and in the land that sustains us. Her words resonated deeply with the group, a reminder that they were not alone in their struggle. They were part of something greater, a community bound by a shared purpose. As the fire crackled and the night deepened, they spoke of their hopes and fears, their voices weaving together in a tapestry of resilience. Caden, who had been listening intently, added his own thoughts. "Every step we take is a step toward the dawn," he said, his voice steady and reassuring. "We carry the light within us, and we cannot allow the darkness to extinguish it. Together, we are strong." The conversation continued long into the night, the fire a steadfast companion that warmed their bodies and spirits. They spoke of the challenges they faced, of the unknowns that lay ahead. Yet, in their words, there was a thread of optimism, a belief that they could carve out a new existence amidst the ruins of the old world. As the fire burned low and the stars wheeled overhead, the travelers settled into sleep, their dreams a kaleidoscope of past and future, of what was lost and what could be regained. In their slumber, they found respite from the weight of their journey, a momentary peace that allowed them to gather strength for the road ahead. Morning came softly, the sky awash with the colors of dawn. The travelers rose and prepared to continue, their hearts buoyed by the shared resolve that had been forged around the fire. The path stretched before them, winding through the forest and into the unknown, yet they faced it with courage and hope, their spirits unbroken. As they resumed their journey, the whispers of the forest seemed to echo their resolve, a gentle reminder that life, no matter how fragile, endures. The promise of a brighter tomorrow was a beacon that guided them, a light that shone through the darkness of the year 536, illuminating the way forward. The path unfurled like a ribbon of possibility, weaving its way through the towering sentinels of ancient trees, their branches like arms reaching upward, seeking solace in the heavens. Each step the travelers took was a defiance of despair, a quiet rebellion against the shadows that had claimed so many. The air was crisp and carried the scent of pine and earth, a breath of life amidst the remnants of decay that lingered like ghosts in the periphery of their senses. Birdsong, tentative but sincere, began to punctuate the silence, fragile notes that dared to pierce the heavy shroud of uncertainty. It was as if the world, in its deep wisdom, knew that even in the darkest of times, there was a rhythm, a cycle that must be honored. The travelers walked in tune with this rhythm, their steps falling into a cadence that matched the heartbeat of the land. As the sun rose higher, casting its golden light through the canopy, the forest revealed its hidden wonders. Delicate ferns unfurled beside the path, their fronds glistening with morning dew, while the occasional rustle of leaves signaled the presence of furtive creatures, watching with curious eyes. The travelers moved with a sense of reverence, aware that they were part of something greater, a tapestry woven from the threads of time and nature. Their journey led them to a clearing, where the sunlight streamed down in gentle beams, illuminating a small stream that babbled quietly over smooth stones. Here, in this sanctuary of light and water, the travelers paused to rest. They knelt by the stream, cupping cool water in their hands, washing away the dust of the road and drinking deeply of its clarity. The water was a balm, a reminder of purity and life in a world that had seemed so sullied by woe. As they lingered by the stream, voices lifted in conversation, a tapestry of stories woven from shared experience and dreams yet to be realized. They spoke of their homes, of loved ones lost to the shadowy grip of the year 536, and of the small, resilient hopes that had carried them this far. Each voice was a thread, and together they created a fabric that was both strong and fragile, a testament to the human spirit. One of the travelers, a young woman with eyes that reflected the sky, shared a tale of her village, nestled in a valley that once brimmed with life and laughter. She spoke of the day the sun had dimmed, casting a pall over the land, and the way her people had huddled together, finding warmth in each other's presence, even as the cold seeped into their bones. Her voice wavered as she recounted the days of scarcity and fear, but there was a fierce light in her eyes, a determination that refused to be quenched. Another traveler, an older man with lines etched deep by time and toil, recounted his journey from a distant land, across seas that had raged under storm-laden skies. His tale was one of perseverance and loss, yet also of unexpected kindness found in the most unlikely places. He spoke of a fisherman who had shared the last of his bread, and of a child who had offered a flower plucked from the ruins, a gesture of beauty and hope amidst desolation. As the tales unfolded, the travelers found solace in each other's words, drawing strength from the shared acknowledgement of their struggles. The forest listened, the trees standing witness to their narratives, their branches swaying gently as if in agreement that these stories, these lives, mattered. Time slipped by, the sun tracing its arc across the sky, and the travelers knew it was time to move on. The path beckoned, a reminder that their journey was far from over. They rose, gathering their belongings, and stepped back onto the trail with renewed resolve. The forest closed around them once more, a living cathedral that sheltered them on their way. The afternoon brought with it a shift, a subtle tension in the air that spoke of change. The travelers felt it, an undercurrent that rippled through the leaves and whispered through their thoughts. It was as if the world was holding its breath, waiting for something to unfold, something that lay just beyond the bend in the road. They pressed on, the path leading them deeper into the heart of the forest. The light began to wane, casting long shadows that danced among the trees, creating patterns that flickered and shifted with each step. The air grew cooler, carrying with it a hint of something unfamiliar, a scent that was both sweet and acrid, a foretaste of what lay ahead. As they rounded a corner, the source of the scent revealed itself. The path opened onto a small clearing, where the charred remains of a village stood silent and solemn, a testament to the ravages of the year 536. The travelers paused, their hearts heavy with the echoes of forgotten lives. The ground was littered with the remnants of what once was, a broken cart, the scorched beams of a house, and the remnants of a fire that had long since burned out. It was a scene of desolation, yet in the midst of the ruins, a single flower bloomed defiantly, its petals a vibrant yellow that stood in stark contrast to the ash and debris. The travelers approached it with a sense of awe, recognizing in its fragile beauty a symbol of resilience and hope. It was a reminder that even in the darkest of times, life could find a way to endure, to push through the cracks and reach for the light. They stood in silence, paying homage to the lives that had once filled this place with laughter and love. The wind sighed through the trees, a gentle lament that echoed their own sense of loss. But within that lament was also a promise, a whisper that life would continue, that the world, no matter how broken, held within it the seeds of renewal. The travelers moved on, leaving the clearing behind, their hearts lifted by the sight of the flower, a beacon of hope in a world that so desperately needed it. As they walked, the forest seemed to close ranks around them, offering its protection, its wisdom, its quiet strength. They felt the pulse of the earth beneath their feet, a steady rhythm that matched the beat of their own hearts. The sun dipped low on the horizon, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink, a final burst of color before the night claimed the land. As darkness fell, the travelers found a place to rest, a sheltered nook beneath the boughs of a great oak. They settled in, weary but hopeful, their thoughts turning to the road ahead, to the promise of a new dawn. In the quiet of the night, as the stars began to appear, they shared a simple meal, their conversation hushed but filled with warmth. They spoke of the flower, of its defiance and beauty, and of the lessons it offered. It was a reminder that even in the worst of times, there was a light that could not be extinguished, a spark that would continue to burn bright. As they lay down to sleep, the forest cradled them, its whispers a lullaby that carried them into dreams. The year 536 might have been the worst time to be alive, but within its trials, there was also a testament to resilience, a story of survival that would be told for generations to come. The travelers were but a part of this tale, their journey a thread in the larger tapestry of life, a testament to the enduring spirit of humanity amidst the ruins of the old world. As the gentle embrace of sleep overtook the travelers, the forest around them seemed to breathe in rhythm with their dreams. The night air was cool and fragrant with the earthy aroma of damp leaves and moss, a natural balm that soothed the weariness of their bodies and minds. The great oak under which they rested stood like a guardian, its ancient limbs swaying slightly in the night breeze, whispering secrets of the earth to the stars above. In their dreams, the travelers found themselves in a world not unlike their own, yet imbued with a surreal quality that only dreams can conjure. They wandered through fields of flowers that stretched as far as the eye could see, each petal glowing with an inner light, a symbol of hope and renewal. The air was filled with the sound of laughter and music, a stark contrast to the silence that often accompanied their waking hours. It was a realm where the shadows of hardship could not reach, where the spirit could soar free. As dawn approached, the first light of day began to filter through the canopy, casting dappled patterns on the forest floor. The travelers awoke slowly, reluctant to leave the sanctuary of their dreams, but eager to continue their journey. They gathered their belongings and set off once more, their steps lighter, buoyed by the promise of the new day. The path they followed was narrow and winding, a ribbon of earth that threaded its way through the dense woodland. The forest was alive with the song of birds, their melodies weaving through the trees like a delicate tapestry. The travelers listened, their hearts lifting with each note, as if nature itself were urging them onward. As they walked, the landscape began to change. The trees grew taller, their trunks thicker and more gnarled, their branches forming a cathedral of leaves above. Sunlight danced through the gaps, creating pools of warmth on the ground. It was a place of serenity, a refuge from the turmoil that had swept through the world beyond. As the morning wore on, they reached a clearing where a babbling brook wound its way through the grass, its waters sparkling in the sunlight. They paused to rest, dipping their hands into the cool stream, feeling the refreshment seep into their skin. It was a moment of peace, a brief respite in their long journey. Yet, even in this tranquil setting, the memory of the past lingered like a shadow at the edges of their consciousness. The year 536 had left its mark on the world, a year when the sun was dimmed and the earth grew cold. It was a time when crops failed and famine spread like a dark tide, when the air was filled with a dust that blotted out hope. The travelers carried these memories with them, etched into their hearts, a reminder of the fragility of life. But they also carried something more, a determination to endure, to rebuild what had been lost. It was a resolve born of necessity, a flame kindled in the depths of despair that refused to be extinguished. For even in the worst of times, they had found moments of beauty, glimpses of a world that still held the promise of life. As they resumed their journey, a new sound reached their ears, faint at first, but growing stronger with each step. It was the distant murmur of voices, a chorus of humanity that rose and fell like the tide. The travelers quickened their pace, drawn towards the sound, their hearts pounding with a mixture of anticipation and trepidation. Emerging from the forest, they found themselves on a hillside overlooking a valley, where a village lay nestled among the trees. Smoke curled from the chimneys of the houses, drifting lazily into the sky. The fields around the village were a patchwork of green and gold, a testament to the resilience of those who had tilled the land, coaxing life from the soil despite the odds. As they descended the hill, the travelers were greeted by the villagers, their faces lined with the same hardships, but also lit by the same hope. They were welcomed with open arms, offered food and shelter, their presence a reminder that none were truly alone in this world. It was a reunion of kindred spirits, a meeting of souls who had walked different paths but shared a common journey. In the days that followed, the travelers became a part of the village life, their skills and stories weaving into the fabric of the community. They shared tales of their travels, of the flower that had stood defiantly against the harshness of the world, and of the lessons they had learned along the way. It was a story that resonated with the villagers, echoing their own experiences, their own battles against the darkness. Together they worked the land, planting seeds that would grow into the sustenance of the future. They repaired what had been broken, building anew with the knowledge that even in the face of adversity, there was always a chance for renewal. It was a labor of love, a testament to the indomitable spirit of those who refused to surrender to despair. And as the seasons turned, the village blossomed, a living testament to the strength and resilience of humanity. The travelers knew that their journey was not yet over, that there were still paths to be walked and challenges to be faced. But for now, they had found a home, a place where the lessons of the past could be carried into the future, where the light of hope could shine even in the darkest of times. As the sun set on the horizon, painting the sky with hues of gold and crimson, the travelers stood with the villagers, their faces turned towards the future. It was a moment of quiet reflection, a time to remember the journey that had brought them here and the possibilities that lay ahead. The year 536 had been the worst of times, but it had also been a time of awakening, a reminder that even in the deepest darkness, the light of humanity could still shine bright. The night descended gently over the village, enveloping it in a blanket of stars that shimmered like scattered jewels across a velvet expanse. The air was cool and carried the scent of pine and earth, a reminder of the land's eternal presence, ever nurturing, ever enduring. As the village settled into the quietude of night, the travelers gathered around a modest fire, its flames dancing with a life of their own, casting flickering shadows upon the solemn faces that surrounded it. These were faces marked by the journey, etched with lines of hardship and hope, eyes that had witnessed the relentless battering of time, yet still held a glint of unwavering determination. Each traveler had a story, a piece of the mosaic that was this shared odyssey through a world turned strange and unforgiving. Helena, the healer, was the first to speak, her voice a soft lilt that carried over the crackle of the fire. In the ashes of what once was, we find the seeds of what can be, she said, her words weaving through the night like threads of silk. We have been tested, yes, but look around us. See how life insists on pushing through. Her gaze drifted to the small garden they had cultivated together, a patch of earth where wildflowers bloomed defiantly, their colors vivid against the dark soil. The garden was a symbol of renewal, a promise that life, despite its trials, could begin anew. Beside her, Eamon, the blacksmith, nodded in agreement. His hands bore the calluses of his trade, yet they were gentle as they tended the flames. We shape our world as the smith shapes iron, he mused. It takes heat and pressure to mold something strong. Perhaps this year has forged us into something stronger than before. The firelight reflected off his eyes, deep and thoughtful, as he glanced at his companions. They were a motley band, brought together by circumstance, yet bound by a shared resolve. Each had contributed to the village's resurgence. The healer with her herbs and knowledge, the blacksmith with his tools and strength, and the others with skills honed from the necessity of survival. A soft breeze rustled through the trees, whispering secrets of the night to those who would listen. The travelers fell into a contemplative silence, their thoughts mingling with the rustling leaves and the quiet hum of nocturnal life. It was a moment suspended in time, where the past and future coalesced, and the weight of the year's adversities was lifted, if only for a while. Then, from the shadows emerged a figure, clad in a cloak of midnight blue, hood drawn low over their face. It was Mira, the Wanderer, a woman whose mysterious past was as veiled as the night itself. Her presence was both unsettling and comforting, a paradox that intrigued and occasionally unnerved the villagers. Mira's voice was a whisper, a gentle caress that stirred the soul. Darkness and light danced together, she said, her words a melody that echoed in the hearts of those who listened. We have seen the darkest night, but know this, the dawn will come. It always does. Her words hung in the air, resonating with a truth that was both simple and profound. The travelers exchanged glances, each drawing strength from the other, finding solace in the shared understanding that the worst had indeed passed, and what lay ahead, though uncertain, was full of potential. As they sat by the fire, the night wore on, spinning tales and dreams, weaving a tapestry of hope and camaraderie. Time seemed to slow, allowing them to savor these precious moments of peace. Yet, beneath the surface, an undercurrent of unease simmered, a reminder that the world beyond their village was still bruised and battered by the calamities of the year gone by. The travelers were acutely aware that this reprieve was but a chapter in their ongoing saga. The moon rose high, casting its silvery light over the land, and as if guided by its glow, the travelers' thoughts turned to the future. There were still lands to be explored, allies to be found, and mysteries to unravel. The road stretched out before them, a ribbon of possibility unfurling into the distance. But before they could contemplate the journey ahead, they needed to fortify what they had built. The village was a haven, but it was also a bulwark against the chaos that lurked beyond its borders. Plans were laid, strategies discussed in hushed tones, how they would strengthen their defenses, expand their resources, and ensure the safety of all who called this place home. As the fire began to wane, sending wisps of smoke towards the heavens, the travelers rose, one by one, retiring to their shelters, their hearts lighter with the knowledge that they were not alone. They carried with them the warmth of companionship, the spark of hope kindled by shared experiences and dreams of a brighter tomorrow. The village, nestled in the embrace of the forest, slept soundly, cradled by the gentle lullaby of the night. And as the moon journeyed across the sky, the dreams of its inhabitants wove a tapestry of possibility, hinting at the stories yet to be written, the adventures yet to unfold. When the first light of dawn kissed the horizon, the village awoke to a new day, the air filled with the promise of renewal. The travelers, their spirits buoyed by the night's revelations, greeted the morning with hopeful hearts. With each passing day, they would continue to build, to learn, to adapt. The challenges of the past had forged them into a community, a family bound not by blood, but by shared purpose and unwavering resolve. The year 536 had indeed been the worst of times, but it had also been a crucible, a forge in which the steel of their spirits had been tempered and strengthened. And so, with the sun rising high in the sky, casting its golden light over the village, the travelers prepared to face whatever lay ahead. For they knew that together they could weather any storm, overcome any obstacle, and build a future where the light of hope would forever shine bright, guiding them through even the darkest of times. As the morning sun ascended, painting the sky in hues of gold and amber, the village came alive with the gentle hum of activity. Birds chirped melodically in the trees, their songs a chorus of renewal that echoed across the fields. The travelers, having found solace and strength in each other, set about their tasks with a newfound sense of purpose. The air was crisp, carrying with it the scent of damp earth and blooming wildflowers, a reminder that life, despite its hardships, persisted. The village square, once a place of despair, now bustled with energy. Merchants arranged their stalls, displaying wares that spoke of distant lands and ancient traditions. The smell of freshly baked bread wafted through the air, mingling with the tang of herbs and spices, creating an aroma that was both comforting and invigorating. Children, their laughter ringing like bells, chased each other in playful abandon, their innocence a balm to the weary souls of the adults who watched over them. Amidst this tapestry of life, the travelers gathered to discuss the day's plans. Each person, though scarred by the trials of the year, carried within them stories of resilience and hope. They spoke of rebuilding homes and cultivating fields, of sharing knowledge and preserving what had been nearly lost. An unspoken understanding flowed between them, a recognition of shared burdens and collective dreams. Among the travelers was Alara, a woman of quiet strength and wisdom. Her eyes, deep as the night sky, held the mysteries of the world, and her voice, when she spoke, was like a gentle breeze rustling through leaves. She had been a healer in her old village, a keeper of ancient remedies and lore. Now, she stood as a beacon of guidance, her presence a source of comfort to those around her. Today, Alara had a plan. She gathered a small group and led them to the edge of the forest, where the trees stood tall and proud, guardians of secrets untold. The forest, with its dense canopy and shadowy paths, had been a place of fear, a domain of the unknown. But Alara, with her deep connection to nature, saw it as an ally, a reservoir of untapped potential. As they walked beneath the emerald boughs, the travelers spoke in hushed tones, their voices mingling with the whispers of the wind. Alara stopped beside a clearing, her gaze sweeping over the group. "Here," she said softly, "we shall gather what the forest offers. For in these times, we must learn to live in harmony with the world around us, to take only what we need and give back in gratitude." The travelers nodded, understanding the wisdom in her words. They set to work, collecting herbs and roots, each plant carefully chosen for its healing properties. Alara moved among them, her hands deftly identifying leaves and blossoms, her touch gentle but sure. As she worked, she shared stories of the plants, their uses, and the legends that surrounded them. Her voice wove a tapestry of knowledge, each thread a link to the past, a reminder that they were part of a continuum, a lineage of survival and adaptation. The sun climbed higher, casting dappled light through the leaves, creating patterns that danced on the forest floor. The air was cool and fragrant, filled with the earthy scent of moss and loam. The travelers, immersed in their task, felt a sense of peace settle over them, a momentary respite from the turmoil of the world beyond the trees. As the afternoon wore on, they returned to the village, their baskets filled with the bounty of the forest. Alara led them to a small hut at the edge of the square, a place where she had begun to create a sanctuary of healing. Inside, the air was warm and inviting, filled with the scent of dried herbs and the soft glow of candlelight. Shelves lined the walls, holding jars of potions and salves, each one labeled in Alara's careful script. The travelers gathered around as Alara began to teach them the art of healing. She showed them how to crush leaves and mix poultices, how to brew teas that could soothe the body and calm the mind. Her hands moved with practiced grace, each motion deliberate and precise. As she worked, she spoke of balance, of the need to respect the delicate interplay of life and death, growth and decay. Her words were a reminder that healing was not just about mending the body, but nurturing the spirit as well. Outside, the village thrived, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. The fields, once barren, now showed signs of life, green shoots pushing through the soil, reaching for the sun. The river, its waters clear and sparkling, flowed steadily, a lifeline that sustained them all. The people, bound by shared struggle and hope, worked together, each contribution a vital piece of the whole. As evening approached, the village gathered in the square, the warmth of the day lingering in the air. A fire crackled at the center, its flames reaching towards the sky, casting a circle of light that drew the people in. They sat together, sharing stories and laughter, their voices rising in harmony, a celebration of survival and community. Alara, seated among them, watched with a quiet smile. She knew that the road ahead would not be easy, that challenges would continue to arise. But she also knew that they were no longer alone. The trials of the past year had forged bonds of friendship and trust, had taught them the strength that lay in unity and compassion. As the stars emerged, twinkling like diamonds in the velvet sky, the travelers felt a sense of peace settle over them. The year 536 had been a crucible, a time of darkness and despair, but it had also been a time of profound transformation. They had emerged from the shadows, tempered by fire, stronger and more resilient than ever before. And so, as the night deepened and the fire burned low, the village drifted into a restful sleep, their dreams woven with the promise of a new dawn. For they knew that, together, they could weather any storm, overcome any obstacle, and build a future where the light of hope would forever shine bright, guiding them through even the darkest of times. The morning sun rose slowly, casting its golden glow over the village, gently waking the earth from its slumber. The air was crisp, carrying the scent of dew-kissed grass and the distant promise of blooming wildflowers. As the first light touched the faces of the travelers, they stirred, stretching beneath the warmth of their blankets, their breath visible in the cool morning air. Alara, the wise woman who had guided them through the trials of the past year, stood by the edge of the village, her silhouette framed by the rising sun. Her eyes, deep and knowing, observed the world with a gaze that seemed to reach beyond the horizon. The villagers had come to regard her as a beacon of wisdom and strength, a figure whose presence brought comfort amid uncertainty. The village was alive with the gentle hum of morning activity. The clatter of pots and pans mingled with the soft murmur of voices as people began their daily routines. Children chased each other through the cobbled streets, their laughter a sweet melody that intertwined with the songs of birds greeting the day. It was a scene of ordinary beauty, yet beneath it lay the memory of hardship and the resilience that had carried them through. Alara made her way through the village, exchanging warm greetings with those she passed. Her touch was gentle, her words a balm to those who still bore the scars of the previous year's trials. She moved with a grace that seemed almost otherworldly, her presence a reminder of the path they had traveled and the journey still ahead. As she reached the village square, she paused, her gaze drawn to the ancient oak tree that stood sentinel at its center. Its branches stretched wide, offering shade and shelter, a symbol of endurance that mirrored their own. Beneath its boughs, a group of elders gathered, their faces lined with the wisdom of many seasons. They nodded to Alara, acknowledging her with a respect that spoke of shared experiences and mutual understanding. The elders had convened to discuss the future, to plan for the seasons ahead, and ensure the village's continued survival. The year 536 had taught them the importance of preparation, of being ready for whatever challenges might arise. Their voices were low and measured, each word carefully considered as they weighed the needs of the present against the uncertainties of the future. Alara joined their circle, her presence a catalyst for reflection and insight. Together, they spoke of the land's bounty, of the seeds they would sow, and the harvests they hoped to reap. They discussed the importance of community, of supporting one another through times of scarcity and abundance alike. There was a quiet determination in their words, a resolve to build a future worthy of the sacrifices they had made. As the meeting drew to a close, Alara rose, her voice carrying a quiet strength that resonated with those gathered. "We have weathered the storm," she said, her eyes meeting each of theirs in turn. "And now, we must nurture the seeds of hope we have planted. Together, we will build a world where light and shadow dance in harmony, where the lessons of the past guide us toward a brighter tomorrow." With those words, the elders dispersed, their hearts buoyed by a sense of purpose and unity. The village sprang into action, each member contributing to the tapestry of life that unfolded anew each day. There was a rhythm to their work, a symphony of effort and intention that wove the fabric of their community. In the fields beyond the village, the earth was tilled and prepared for planting. The soil was rich and dark, its scent earthy and full of promise. Farmers moved with practiced ease, their hands skilled and sure as they sowed the seeds that would become the lifeblood of their sustenance. The sun climbed higher, its warmth a gentle caress on their backs as they labored, their spirits lifted by the knowledge that they were part of something greater than themselves. Meanwhile, in the heart of the village, artisans and craftsmen honed their skills, creating tools and wares that would serve the needs of their people. The ring of hammer on anvil echoed through the air, a steady beat that underscored the harmony of their endeavors. The weavers' looms clicked and clacked, threads of vibrant color coming together to form patterns rich with meaning and tradition. As the afternoon sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the village, Alara found herself at the edge of the forest. The trees stood tall and silent, their leaves whispering secrets only the wind could hear. She walked among them, her footsteps soft on the forest floor, each step a meditation on the interconnectedness of all things. In the dappled light, she paused by a stream, its waters clear and cold as they danced over smooth stones. She knelt beside it, her reflection rippling on the surface, and cupped her hands to drink. The water was crisp and refreshing, a gift from the earth that nourished both body and soul. As she lingered there, a sense of peace enveloped her, a reminder of the cycles of life and renewal that continued unabated, even in the face of adversity. The forest was a sanctuary, a place where time seemed to stretch and bend, where the past, present, and future intertwined in a timeless dance. Alara's thoughts drifted to the travelers she had guided, to the bonds they had forged in the crucible of hardship. She knew that they too carried the lessons of the past within them, that they would take those lessons into the world beyond the village. And though their paths might diverge, the ties of friendship and trust would remain, a thread that connected them across distance and time. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of gold and crimson, Alara rose and made her way back to the village. The air was cool, a gentle breeze rustling the leaves overhead, and she felt the weight of the day's journey ease from her shoulders. The village was aglow with the soft light of lanterns, their warm glow a beacon in the gathering dusk. Laughter and conversation filled the air, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, to the capacity for joy even in the face of uncertainty. The villagers gathered around the fire, their faces illuminated by its flickering light, their voices rising in song and story. Alara joined them, her heart full of gratitude for the journey they had shared and the promise of the road ahead. As she sat among them, she knew that the year 536 had been a crucible, a time of transformation that had forged bonds unbreakable by time or distance. Together, They had emerged from the darkness, guided by the light of hope, ready to face whatever the future might hold. And in that moment, as the stars emerged once more to cast their gentle glow upon the earth, Alara felt a deep and abiding peace. For she knew that, no matter the challenges that lay ahead, the village would endure, its people united by the strength of their shared journey and the promise of a new dawn. As the evening wore on, the fire crackled and popped, sending tiny embers spiraling into the velvety night sky. Each spark seemed to dance with a life of its own before fading into the darkness, a fleeting reminder of the day's toils and triumphs. The villagers leaned in closer, drawn not just by the warmth of the flames, but by the warmth of each other's company. It was in these moments, when the world felt small and intimate, that the true magic of their shared humanity revealed itself. Alara listened intently to the stories that unfolded around the fire, each tale woven with threads of courage and resilience. There was old Geralt, whose voice, though softened by age, carried a weight of wisdom. He spoke of ancient times when the world was young and the skies clear, a time when the earth was abundant with life and possibility. His stories painted vivid pictures in the minds of all who listened, transporting them to realms where hope was not just a distant dream, but a palpable reality. As Geralt finished his tale, a hush fell over the crowd, the kind of silence that invited reflection and reverence. Alara took a deep breath, feeling the cool night air fill her lungs, and let her mind wander back to the beginning of their journey. She remembered the uncertainty that had gripped them all when the sun was shrouded by a veil of ash and the days seemed to stretch endlessly into night. The earth had groaned under the weight of its own burden, and in those times, it was easy to believe that hope itself might wither away. Yet here they were, a testament to the endurance of the human spirit. As the villagers sat in the glow of the fire, Alara could see the flicker of determination in their eyes, a spark that refused to be extinguished. It was this spark that had carried them through the darkest of times, illuminating their path when all else seemed lost. With the night deepening around them, the conversation turned to the future. There was talk of rebuilding, of planting new seeds in the soil that had once seemed barren. The village elder, a man named Thalos, spoke of the coming spring and the promise it held. His words were like a balm, soothing the worries that lingered at the edges of their consciousness. "We have walked through the shadows," Thalos said, his voice steady and reassuring. "But know this, the earth is resilient, and so are we. The seeds we plant today will grow, nourished by the strength of our resolve and the warmth of our unity." The villagers nodded, their hearts swelling with a renewed sense of purpose. Alara felt a profound connection with these people, a kinship forged in the crucible of adversity. She thought of the endless cycles of the seasons, of life and death, and how they mirrored the journey they had all undertaken. Just as the earth would awaken with the coming of spring, so too would they rise, renewed and ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As the evening waned and the fire burned low, the villagers began to drift away, one by one, to the comfort of their homes. Alara lingered a moment longer, her gaze fixed on the dying embers. She thought of the stars above, their ancient light a reminder of the vastness of the universe and the small yet significant place they all occupied within it. With a final, lingering look at the fire, Alara rose and made her way back to her dwelling. The path was illuminated by the soft glow of the moon, and she moved with a sense of purpose, her footsteps steady and sure. As she settled into her bed, the events of the day replayed in her mind, each memory a testament to the resilience and fortitude of the human spirit. In the quiet of the night, Alara felt a profound sense of gratitude for the trials they had faced and overcome, for the bonds they had forged, and for the promise of a new dawn. As sleep claimed her, she knew that whatever the future held, they would face it together, united by the shared journey that had brought them to this moment. The days that followed were filled with a flurry of activity as the village prepared for the coming spring. The once barren fields were tilled and sown, each seed planted with care and hope for the future. The air was filled with the scent of earth and growth, a tangible reminder of the life that lay dormant beneath the surface, waiting for the warmth of the sun to coax it into being. Alara found herself drawn to the fields, her hands working the soil alongside her fellow villagers. There was a rhythm to the work, a steady, comforting cadence that spoke of renewal and rebirth. As she planted each seed, she imagined the life it would one day sustain, the fruit of their labor that would nourish not just their bodies, but their spirits as well. In the evenings, the village gathered once more around the fire, their laughter and conversation a soothing balm after a long day's work. Stories were shared, songs were sung, and the bonds between them grew ever stronger. It was in these moments that Alara felt the true power of community, the unyielding strength that came from standing together, united in purpose and hope. As the days turned to weeks, the village began to transform. The once desolate landscape slowly gave way to vibrant patches of green, the promise of a bountiful harvest. The air was filled with the sounds of life, of birds returning to their nests, and the gentle rustling of leaves in the breeze. It was a symphony of renewal, a testament to the resilience of the earth and all who called it home. Alara watched with a sense of awe as the village came alive once more, each new sprout a symbol of their collective determination and hope. She thought of all they had endured, the trials and tribulations that had tested their resolve, and how they had emerged from the darkness, stronger and more united than ever before. In the quiet moments, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the first stars appeared in the sky, Alara would reflect on the journey that had brought them to this place. She thought of the challenges they had faced, the lessons they had learned, and the unbreakable bonds they had forged along the way. And as the village celebrated the arrival of spring, Alara felt a deep sense of peace. For she knew that no matter what the future held, they would face it together, guided by the light of hope and the strength of their shared journey. The year 536 had been a crucible, a time of transformation that had forged a community resilient and unyielding, ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. As the village nestled under the soft embrace of twilight, a gentle hush descended, wrapping the world in a serene, almost mystical quietude. The air was fragrant with the scent of damp earth and budding leaves, a sweet reminder of life's tenacity. The villagers moved about with a grace that seemed almost ceremonial, each gesture deliberate, as if acknowledging the sacredness of their survival against the odds. Alara stood by the edge of the village, where the land met the untouched wilds of the forest. Her gaze swept over the landscape, a vast tapestry woven with the threads of their perseverance. The fields, once barren and unyielding, now shimmered with the tender green of new growth. Each blade of grass, each delicate blossom, was a testament to the resilience of life and the spirit of a people who had refused to yield to despair. Her heart swelled with a profound gratitude, a feeling as expansive as the sky that arched above her, now alight with the fading glow of the sun. She remembered the first day of the year, when the sun had been obscured by a veil of darkness, an omen that had cast a pall over their hearts. The world had seemed to teeter on the brink of an eternal night, and fear had whispered insidious doubts in the ears of even the most steadfast among them. But they had persisted, driven by an indomitable will and the flickering flame of hope that refused to be extinguished. Alara recalled the moments of doubt, the long nights when shadows seemed to press in from all sides, and the days when the cold gnawed at their bones, relentless and unforgiving. Yet, through it all, they had clung to each other, drawing strength from the bonds that had been forged in the crucible of adversity. The memory of those early days was sharp and clear in her mind. The village had been a place of whispered fears and unspoken sorrows, a community on the precipice of despair. But as the days lengthened and the sun's warmth returned, so too had their spirits lifted. The village had become a beacon of resilience, a place where hope was cultivated alongside the crops that would sustain them. Alara turned her attention back to the village, where the sounds of laughter and song drifted through the evening air. The villagers had gathered in the central square, a space that had witnessed both their tears and their triumphs. Now it was alive with the vibrant energy of celebration, a tapestry of movement and sound that spoke of renewal and rebirth. She watched as children chased fireflies, their laughter a joyous symphony that echoed through the night. The elders, who had borne the weight of so many winters, sat together, their eyes alight with a wisdom born of experience. They spoke in low tones, their words a balm that soothed the scars of the past and wove a narrative of hope for the future. And there, at the heart of it all, was Aaron, whose presence seemed to radiate a warmth that drew people in. He moved among them with an ease that belied the burdens he had carried, his smile a constant reassurance that they were not alone. Together, they had weathered the storm, and together they would forge a path forward, guided by the lessons of the past and the promise of tomorrow. As the evening deepened, Alara felt a gentle tug at her sleeve. She looked down to see a small boy, his eyes wide with curiosity and wonder. He held out a tiny sprig of lavender, a gift plucked from the earth that had sustained them. "For you, Alara," he said, his voice a soft murmur in the twilight. She accepted the offering with a smile, touched by the simple gesture. The lavender's scent was a reminder of the healing power of nature, of the cycles that continued unabated despite the trials they had faced. It was a symbol of the resilience that pulsed through the veins of their community, a resilience that would see them through whatever lay ahead. In that moment, Alara understood that the darkness of the past year had not been in vain. It had been a forge, a place where the metal of their spirits had been tested and tempered. They had emerged from it stronger, more united, and more aware of the fragile beauty of the world around them. The evening continued to unfold, a gentle tapestry of moments that wove together to create a night of remembrance and celebration. The villagers shared stories of the year gone by, tales of courage and compassion that had defined their struggle. As they spoke, their voices intertwined, a chorus of resilience that rose to meet the stars. Alara listened, her heart full, as the stories washed over her. Each one was a thread in the larger tapestry of their shared history, a reminder of the strength that lay in unity and the power of hope to light even the darkest of times. As the night wore on, the air grew cooler, the promise of spring whispering through the trees. The villagers began to drift away, returning to their homes with hearts buoyed by the celebration. Alara lingered a moment longer, savoring the peace that enveloped the village, a peace hard-won and deeply cherished. With a final glance at the sky, now a vast expanse of stars, she turned away, her footsteps light as she made her way back to her own home. The path was familiar, worn by countless journeys made under the watchful gaze of the moon. As she reached her door, she paused, the lavender still in her hand. She placed it on the windowsill, a small token of gratitude for the journey they had taken and the future that awaited them. And so, under the canopy of a star-strewn sky, the village settled into a restful slumber, cradled by the gentle arms of spring. It was a peace born of struggle, a testament to the enduring spirit of a people who had faced the darkest year and emerged into the light, ready to embrace whatever the future might hold. The village, now enveloped in the gentle embrace of night, lay nestled in a valley that had long been shaped by the hands of time and the whims of nature. The air was thick with the scent of fresh earth and budding leaves, a reminder of life's resilience and its capacity to renew itself with every passing season. In the quietude of her home, Alara moved with a practiced grace, her hands deftly tending to the fire that crackled in the hearth. The flames, flickering and warm, cast a soft glow that danced across the walls, weaving shadows that seemed to tell stories of old, tales of ancestors who had once walked these lands, their lives woven into the very fabric of the village. As she settled into her chair, the weight of the past year seemed to lift, replaced by a quiet determination. The harsh memories of darkness and despair lingered still, like distant echoes of a storm now past. Yet within her heart, there was a new light, a flicker of hope sparked by the promise of spring and the renewal it heralded. Outside, the night was alive with the sounds of nature's nocturnal symphony. The gentle rustle of leaves whispered secrets to the wind, while the distant call of an owl resonated through the stillness, a sentinel of the night, keeping watch over the sleeping world. Stars, like diamonds scattered across the velvet sky, twinkled with a brilliance that seemed to defy the darkness that had so recently shrouded the earth. Alara's thoughts wandered to the stories she had heard as a child, tales of the celestial dance that played out above them, legends of gods and heroes, of battles fought and loves won under the very same stars that now watched over her. In those stories, she found comfort, a reminder that even amidst the chaos of the cosmos, there was an order, a harmony that spoke of a greater design. Her mind drifted back to the events that had shaped their recent past, the trials that had tested their mettle, and the courage it had taken to persevere. The year 536 had been unlike any other, a time when the sun itself seemed to hide its face, casting the world into a shadow that threatened to swallow all hope. Crops had withered under the chill of an unending winter, and the people had faced hunger and disease with a resolve born of necessity. Yet, as the seasons turned, they had found strength in their unity, drawing together to forge a future from the ashes of despair. It was a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity, a reminder that even in the darkest times, there exists a light within each soul, a beacon that guides them toward brighter days. As she sat there, lost in the gentle embrace of her thoughts, a sudden sound broke the tranquility of the night. It was soft at first, a mere whisper carried on the breeze, but it grew in intensity, like the distant rumble of thunder heralding a storm. Alara rose, her senses alert, as she moved to the window to peer into the darkness beyond. What she saw filled her with a mixture of awe and trepidation. A strange glow was spreading across the horizon, a luminescence that seemed to defy explanation. It shimmered with colors she had never seen, hues that danced and shifted with an ethereal beauty that was both mesmerizing and unsettling. The villagers, roused from their slumber by the strange phenomenon, began to gather in the square, their faces illuminated by the otherworldly light. Murmurs of confusion and wonder rippled through the crowd as they gazed skyward, their eyes wide with disbelief. Alara joined them, her heart pounding with anticipation and a hint of fear. What was this strange occurrence? Was it a sign, an omen sent by the gods, or something else entirely? As the glow intensified, a voice broke through the hushed whispers, a voice filled with authority and calm. It was that of the village elder, a man whose wisdom had guided them through the darkest of times. "Fear not," he called, his voice carrying through the night. "What we witness is a wonder of the heavens, a gift from the stars. Let it be a reminder of the mysteries that lie beyond our understanding, and the beauty that exists even in the most unexpected of places." His words, spoken with a quiet certainty, eased the tension that had gripped the villagers. Slowly, their fear gave way to awe, and they watched in silent reverence as the sky above them was painted with a celestial tapestry unlike any they had ever seen. For Alara, it was a moment of profound revelation. In the wake of so much hardship and heartache, here was a reminder of the boundless wonders of the universe, a spectacle that spoke of hope, of renewal, and of the enduring beauty that exists even amidst the chaos of life. As the night wore on, the glow began to fade, leaving behind a sky once more filled with stars. The villagers, their hearts lightened by the experience, returned to their homes, carrying with them a sense of peace and a renewed hope for the future. Alara lingered a while longer, her eyes fixed on the heavens. In that moment, she felt a connection to something greater than herself, a sense of belonging to the vast tapestry of life that stretched far beyond the boundaries of their small village. With a deep breath, she turned away, her heart full, her spirit lifted. The journey ahead was uncertain, but she knew that they would face it together, united by the shared experiences that had shaped them and the promise of brighter days yet to come. And so, under the watchful gaze of the stars, the village embraced the dawn of a new day, ready to step forward into a future filled with possibility and hope. As the dawn softly kissed the horizon, its tender hues spilling like watercolor across the canvas of the sky, the village began to stir from its slumber. The air was crisp, with a hint of lingering chill, a reminder of the icy grip that had not long ago held the world captive. Yet, here on the edge of a new day, there was a palpable sense of awakening, as if the very earth itself breathed a sigh of relief, shaking off the remnants of an oppressive shroud. Alara, her heart still buoyed by the night's celestial display, moved with a quiet grace through the awakening village. Her footsteps crunched softly on the frost-kissed ground, each step a gentle reminder that life, in all its resilience, continued to pulse beneath the surface. The villagers, their spirits buoyed by the promise of change, emerged from their homes, their faces turned hopefully to the emerging sun. The village square, once a scene of desolation and despair, now bustled with renewed energy. Children's laughter floated on the breeze, mingling with the rhythmic hammer of the blacksmith's forge and the melodic chatter of market vendors setting out their humble wares. The aroma of freshly baked bread wafted through the air, mingling with the earthy scent of the earth as it warmed under the sun's gentle embrace. Alara made her way to the heart of this vibrant tapestry, where the elders had gathered in quiet conversation. Their faces, etched with lines of wisdom and experience, now bore the soft light of hope that had been absent for so long. As she approached, they turned to her with smiles that spoke of gratitude and admiration. "Ah, Alara," murmured old Tarion, his voice a gentle rumble like distant thunder. "You have brought us through the darkest of times and into the light. Your courage and vision have been a beacon for us all." Alara dipped her head in humble acknowledgement, her cheeks flushed with a mix of pride and humility. "We have all walked this path together," she replied softly, her voice carrying the warmth of shared experiences and collective strength. "The sun rises for us all, and together we will greet whatever comes." The elders nodded, their eyes reflecting the quiet determination that had carried them through the harshest of winters. There was a deep understanding among them, a silent agreement that the trials they had faced had not only tested their resilience, but had woven them into a tighter, more cohesive community. As the morning unfolded, Alara found herself drawn to the edge of the village, where the forest stood like a guardian, its ancient trees whispering secrets in the language of leaves. Here, the air was filled with the vibrant chorus of nature awakening, the rustle of leaves, the distant call of a bird, and the gentle murmur of a brook finding its way through the underbrush. Alara paused at the forest's edge, letting the tranquility of the scene seep into her soul. The forest, with its timeless majesty, had been a refuge during the darkest nights, a reminder of the enduring cycle of life. Now, as she stood beneath its boughs, she felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude for the resilience of nature and the lessons it imparted. Yet, beneath the surface of this newfound peace, a whisper of unease lingered. The events of the past year had taught Alara to be vigilant, to look beyond the surface, and to be prepared for the unexpected twists that life might yet bring. The land had endured much, and while the dawn of renewal was upon them, the scars of the past remained a stark reminder of their fragility. As if sensing her thoughts, a gentle breeze stirred the leaves, carrying with it the scent of earth and the promise of change. Alara took a deep breath, allowing the air to fill her lungs and clear her mind. She knew that the path forward would require patience and perseverance, that the seeds of hope planted in the soil of hardship would need time to grow and flourish. With renewed determination, Alara turned back towards the village, her heart filled with a quiet resolve. As she walked, she passed by the fields where new shoots of green were beginning to break through the thawing ground, a testament to the enduring spirit of life. The farmers, their hands calloused and weather-beaten, worked with renewed vigor, their faces alight with the joy of creation. In the village square, the sounds of industry and life continued to rise and fall, like the ebb and flow of the tide. The blacksmith's hammer beat a steady rhythm, a song of resilience and strength. The market buzzed with the lively exchange of goods and stories, a testament to the interconnectedness of their lives. Alara joined in the bustling activity, lending her hands to the tasks at hand, her presence a calming balm to those around her. As the day wore on, the sun climbed higher in the sky, casting its golden warmth over the land and infusing the air with the sweet scent of possibility. The villagers worked side by side, united by the shared experiences and hardships that had forged unbreakable bonds. They moved with a sense of purpose, their hearts lightened by the hope of brighter days and the promise of a future built on the foundation of resilience and unity. As the sun began its descent, painting the sky with hues of amber and rose, Alara found herself once more standing at the heart of the village. The day had been long and fruitful, and as she looked around at the faces of those she held dear, she felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The village, once shrouded in darkness and despair, now stood as a testament to the indomitable spirit of those who called it home. Each person, each story, was a vital thread in the tapestry of life, woven together in a complex and beautiful pattern that spoke of survival, strength, and hope. As the stars began to emerge, twinkling like diamonds against the velvet sky, the villagers gathered around a crackling fire, their faces illuminated by its warm glow. Laughter and conversation mingled with the sound of crackling wood, a symphony of life and connection. Alara sat among them, her heart full as she listened to the stories shared around the fire. Tales of hardship and triumph, of loss and love, spilled forth, each one a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. The fire's flickering light danced across their faces, casting shadows that played like ghosts of the past, only to be banished by the warmth of the present. In that moment, beneath the watchful gaze of the stars, Alara felt a profound sense of peace. The journey had been long and fraught with challenges, but it had also been rich with lessons and growth. The village had emerged from the darkness, stronger and more united, ready to face whatever lay ahead. As the night deepened and the fire burned low, Alara allowed herself a moment of quiet reflection. The path forward was uncertain, but she knew in her heart that they would meet it with courage and grace. The village, like the stars above, was a constellation of hope, shining brightly against the vast canvas of the unknown. And so, under the timeless sky, the village embraced the future, their spirits lifted by the promise of renewal and the enduring beauty of life. The morning sun rose with a gentle insistence, brushing the horizon with hues of gold and rose, a painter's touch on the vast canvas of the sky. It was as if the world itself was taking a deep breath after the long night, and with it, the village awoke, stretching and yawning in the soft light of dawn. The air was crisp and filled with the scent of dew-kissed earth, a reminder of the life that pulsed beneath the surface, waiting to burst forth in vibrant renewal. Alara stood at the edge of the village, her eyes tracing the familiar outlines that had become a part of her very being. Here, the past and the future met in a delicate dance, and she felt the weight of both upon her shoulders. Yet it was not a burden, but a mantle of responsibility, one she wore with quiet dignity and a heart full of hope. As she walked through the village, the sounds of morning life surrounded her. A symphony of whispered greetings, the soft clattering of pots, and the gentle rustle of leaves stirred by a playful breeze. The people were emerging from their homes, their faces marked by the trials of the past, but also by the resilience that had brought them through the darkness. The journey to this moment had not been easy, but it had forged bonds stronger than any iron, ties that would hold them together through whatever storms lay ahead. That day, the village bustled with a renewed energy, a collective effort to rebuild and reclaim what had been lost. There was a sense of urgency in the air, tempered by patience and care. The fields, once barren and gray, were slowly coming back to life under the diligent hands of those who worked them. Seeds were sown with reverence, each one carrying a promise of future harvests, of sustenance and survival. Alara found herself drawn to the edge of the forest, where the trees stood as silent sentinels, their branches whispering secrets in the language of the wind. There, she met with Aaron, a wise elder whose eyes held the depth of countless years. His presence was a comfort, a reminder of the wisdom that could be found in the embrace of nature, in the quiet moments of contemplation. Together, they walked among the trees, their footsteps a soft melody on the forest floor. Aaron spoke of the cycles of the earth, of the harmony that could be found in understanding one's place within the greater tapestry of life. His voice was a gentle murmur, a river of knowledge that flowed seamlessly into Alara's consciousness. "There is much to learn from the forest," Aaron said, his gaze sweeping over the towering trunks and the vibrant canopy above. "It teaches us patience and resilience, the art of balance. Even in the face of destruction, it finds a way to renew itself, to thrive." Alara listened intently, feeling the truth of his words resonate within her. The forest was a testament to survival, to the endurance of life despite adversity. It was a mirror of their own journey, a reflection of the village's struggle and triumph. As they returned to the village, the sun climbed higher, bathing the world in its warm embrace. The day unfolded with a quiet determination, each moment a step towards a future that was slowly coming into focus. The people worked side by side, their efforts a testament to their shared commitment, to the unyielding spirit that had carried them through through the darkest of times. Yet beneath the surface, there lingered a whisper of unease, a reminder that the world was unpredictable and capricious. The earth had shifted once, and it could do so again. It was a truth that shadowed their every endeavor, a specter of uncertainty that could not be banished entirely. As evening descended, draping the village in shades of twilight, Alara gathered with the others around the central fire. The flames danced in the growing darkness, a beacon of warmth and light that drew them together. There was comfort in the ritual, in the shared stories and laughter that wove a tapestry of connection among them. It was during this gathering that a stranger arrived, his presence a ripple in the fabric of their close-knit community. He came from the north, his journey long and arduous, etched into the lines of his weathered face. His name was Thane, and he carried with him tales of lands beyond their own, stories of distant places and the challenges they faced. His voice was a rich, deep timbre, weaving words into vivid images that captivated his audience. He spoke of mountains that kissed the sky and rivers that carved their way through valleys of emerald green. But his stories were not all of beauty and wonder. They were also of hardship and struggle, of people who faced their own trials with courage and determination. Alara listened, her mind painting the scenes he described, her heart quickening at the suspense of his tales. There was something in Thane's eyes, a flicker of knowledge and experience that spoke of truths yet untold, secrets that lay just beneath the surface of his words. As the fire crackled and the night deepened, Thane's stories took on a somber tone. He spoke of a great shadow that had fallen over the land, a darkness that crept like a living thing, clutching at the hearts of those it touched. It was a shadow of fear and uncertainty, a foreboding presence that threatened to unravel the delicate balance of life. The villagers listened in rapt silence, their faces reflecting the flickering firelight, their minds turning over the implications of Thane's words. There was a tension in the air, a current of suspense that threaded through the gathering, binding them together in shared apprehension. Yet even in the face of such ominous tales, there was a sense of resolve that took root among them. They had faced their own shadows, had walked through the valley of despair, and emerged stronger for it. Whatever lay ahead, they would meet it as they always had, together, with unwavering determination and a steadfast belief in the power of hope. As the night wore on and the fire burned low, Alara found herself standing at the edge of the gathering, her gaze drifting upwards to the starlit sky. The constellations twinkled like jewels scattered across the velvet expanse, a reminder of the vastness of the universe and the smallness of their place within it. Yet in that smallness, there was a profound beauty, a simplicity that spoke of the interconnectedness of all things. The stars had witnessed the birth of their world, had watched over the rise and fall of countless generations. They were the silent guardians of time, witnesses to the stories of humanity. And so, beneath the watchful gaze of the stars, the village found solace in the shared embrace of community, in the knowledge that they were not alone. The future was a mystery, a tapestry yet to be woven, but they would face it with courage and grace, their spirits lifted by the enduring beauty of life and the promise of renewal. In the quiet of the night, Alara whispered a silent prayer, a wish carried on the wings of the wind. It was a prayer for strength, for unity, and for the light to guide them through whatever shadows might come. And as she stood there, wrapped in the warmth of the moment, she knew that they would endure, that they would thrive, like the forest, like the stars, like the very essence of life itself. Undoubtedly, the village's resilience was mirrored in the constancy of the stars above, and yet, beneath this celestial assurance, a palpable tension lingered. The year 536 had cast its shadow long and dark, a veil of uncertainty and challenge. The earth, usually so generous, had turned fickle, its bounty withheld by a sun obscured, its warmth diminished. Yet, human spirit, like the sturdiest of oaks, bent but did not break. Alara, a figure of quiet determination, moved through the village with a grace that bespoke both her dignity and her concern. Her presence was a comforting beacon, a reminder of the strength that could be drawn from unity. She had seen the suffering etched into the faces of her fellow villagers, the lines of worry and uncertainty deepening with each passing day. Yet she also saw the glimmers of hope, the small acts of kindness that brightened even the darkest of days. The village itself was a tapestry of life, woven with threads of laughter and tears, of whispered dreams and unspoken fears. The people were as much a part of the land as the trees that surrounded them, their lives intricately connected to the rhythms of nature. They knew the language of the wind, the song of the river, and the secrets held within the depths of the forest. It was this bond with the earth that had sustained them through countless trials, and it was this bond that they clung to now as they faced the unknown. The days passed in a blur of activity as the villagers worked to prepare for the coming winter. The fields, though less bountiful than in years past, were still harvested with care, each precious grain a testament to their perseverance. The hunters ventured deeper into the forest, their steps careful and measured, their eyes scanning the shadows for signs of game. In the evenings, the village gathered around the fire, sharing stories and songs, their voices rising in a chorus of defiance against the encroaching dark. Alara found herself drawn to the edge of the forest, where the trees stood tall and silent, their branches whispering secrets to the wind. It was here that she felt closest to the spirit of the land, the ancient wisdom that pulsed through the veins of the earth. She often came here to think, to dream, and to seek guidance from the unseen forces that shaped their world. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with hues of crimson and gold, Alara stood at the forest's edge, her heart heavy with the weight of responsibility. The air was cool and crisp, carrying with it the scent of pine and damp earth. She closed her eyes, allowing the sounds of the forest to wash over her, to fill her with a sense of calm. In that moment, she felt a presence beside her, a warmth that spoke not of the physical, but of the spiritual. It was as if the forest itself had reached out to offer comfort, to remind her that she was not alone. She opened her eyes, half expecting to see an apparition, a spirit of the woods, but there was nothing, only the shadows lengthening as the night claimed the day. Yet, the feeling of connection lingered, a thread of light woven into the fabric of her being. She took a deep breath, the cool air invigorating, and turned back towards the village, her steps lighter, her heart more at ease. As the days grew shorter and the nights colder, the villagers continued their preparations, their resolve unwavering. They were a people accustomed to hardship, to the ebb and flow of fortune, and they faced the coming winter with determination and hope. They knew that the darkness would pass, that the wheel of the seasons would turn, bringing with it the promise of renewal. Alara, too, felt this hope, this certainty that life would prevail. She saw it in the faces of the children, their laughter a balm against the chill of uncertainty. She saw it in the hands of the elders, their touch gentle and reassuring. And she saw it in the eyes of her fellow villagers, in the way they stood shoulder to shoulder, united in purpose and spirit. One night, as a crescent moon hung low in the sky, casting a silvery light upon the land, Alara gathered the villagers together. They stood in a circle around the fire, their faces illuminated by its glow, their breath visible in the cool night air. The fire crackled and danced, its warmth a welcome embrace. "We have faced much this year," Alara began, her voice steady and clear. "The earth has tested us, challenged us, but we have endured. We have found strength in each other, in our community, and in our connection to this land." Her words were met with nods of agreement, murmurs of assent. The villagers knew the truth of her words, felt it in their bones, in their very being. "We do not know what the future holds," she continued, "but we do know this: we are not alone. We have each other, and we have the spirit of this place, the land that has nurtured us, sustained us. We will face whatever comes with courage, with hope, and with love." As her words hung in the air, a feeling of peace settled over the gathering, a sense of unity that transcended the hardships they faced. They stood together, hand in hand, their hearts open to the promise of a new dawn. In the days that followed, the village continued to prepare for winter, their spirits buoyed by the strength of their community. The nights grew longer, the air crisper, but the warmth of their unity shone brightly, a beacon of hope in the darkness. Alara, too, felt this warmth, this light, and she carried it with her as she moved through the village, her presence a source of comfort and inspiration. She knew that the road ahead would not be easy. that there would be challenges to face, but she also knew that they would face them together, with courage and grace. And so, beneath the watchful gaze of the stars, the village thrived, a testament to the enduring spirit of humanity. They were a people bound by love, by hope, and by the promise of renewal. In their hearts, they carried the light of the future, a light that would guide them through whatever shadows might come. As winter's breath began to weave its intricate patterns upon the window panes, the village found itself caught in a dance of preparation and anticipation. The fields, now barren and resting under a blanket of frost, whispered stories of the harvest past, their echoes mingling with the crisp winter air. Smoke curled lazily from the chimneys, a gentle reminder of the warmth within, where fires crackled and cast a golden glow upon the faces gathered around them. Ilara, with her spirit as resilient as the first crocus daring to bloom through the snow, moved through her days with a quiet strength. Her eyes, bright and perceptive, took in the subtle changes of the season, the way the light seemed softer, diffused, as if the world itself was wrapped in a gentle embrace. Yet, beneath this calm veneer, a thread of unease wove its way through her thoughts, a reminder of the unpredictability of the world beyond their village. One evening, as the sky deepened to a velvety indigo and the stars began their nightly vigil, Ilara found herself drawn to the edge of the forest. The trees stood like sentinels, their branches etched starkly against the twilight, and she could feel the pulse of the earth beneath her feet, a steady, reassuring rhythm. Yet, there was a whisper among the leaves, a voice carried on the wind that spoke of change and challenge. It was then that she heard a rustle, a sound out of place amidst the natural symphony. Her heart quickened, though she remained still, her senses attuned to the world around her. From the shadows emerged a figure, cloaked and hesitant, its presence both foreign and familiar. As the figure stepped into the moonlight, Ilara recognized the weary face of a traveler, a man whose eyes held stories untold. "Greetings," she called softly, her voice carrying warmth and welcome. "You seem far from home." The man paused, his eyes meeting hers with a mixture of relief and apprehension. "I am," he replied, his voice rough with fatigue. "I seek shelter and perhaps a morsel to eat. The road has been long, and the night grows colder." Ilara nodded, her heart moved by his plight. She gestured towards the village, the lights twinkling like distant stars. "Come," she invited. "We will share our hearth and our bread. You are welcome here." As they made their way back, Ilara listened to the man's tale, his words painting a vivid picture of lands far beyond, of cities shrouded in dust, and skies that wept a constant rain of ash. His name was Caius, a scholar whose journey had taken him through the heart of the Empire, where he witnessed the unraveling of a world once thought eternal. "It is as if the sun itself has been dimmed," Caius said, his voice carrying the weight of his experiences. "The days are shorter, the air thick with despair. People speak of omens and curses, of gods angered and worlds ending." Ilara felt a chill that had nothing to do with the winter air. She had heard whispers of these tales, stories carried by traders and travelers, but to hear them from someone who had seen it with his own eyes gave them a weight she could not ignore. As they entered the warmth of the village, the familiar faces of her people greeted them. There was a moment of quiet, a pause as they took in the stranger among them, but then, as if guided by an unspoken understanding, they welcomed him with open arms. A space was made by the fire, a bowl of stew placed in his hands, and the soft murmur of conversation enveloped him, a balm for his weary soul. Caius, with the warmth of food and fire easing his journey-worn bones, spoke of the world beyond the mountains, of cities struggling under the weight of a sunless sky, of crops failing and rivers running dry. Each word he spoke wove a tapestry of uncertainty and struggle, yet in the telling, there was also a spark of resilience, a reminder of the indomitable human spirit. The villagers listened, their hearts heavy with the knowledge of the hardships faced by those beyond their borders. Yet, as the night wore on, a sense of solidarity grew among them, a determination to face whatever might come with courage and unity. They were not alone in this world of fading light, and in that knowledge, they found strength. Ilara watched as Caius was drawn into the fold of their community, his presence a reminder of the ties that bound them to the world beyond. She saw in him a kindred spirit, a seeker of knowledge and truth, someone who understood the delicate balance between hope and despair. In the days that followed, Caius became a part of their daily life, his stories a source of intrigue and reflection. He spoke of ancient texts and forgotten knowledge, of stars that guided travelers and winds that whispered secrets. Under his gentle tutelage, the villagers learned to see their world with new eyes, to find wonder in the mundane, and to cherish the light in the darkness. Together, Alara and Caius formed a bond that transcended the boundaries of their worlds, a friendship forged in the crucible of shared experience and mutual respect. They would often walk together at dusk, their conversations weaving a tapestry of dreams and possibilities, a testament to the power of connection and understanding. As winter deepened its hold, the village stood resilient, a beacon of hope and unity in a world shrouded in uncertainty. The nights were long, the air sharp with the promise of snow, but within the hearts of its people burned a fire that could not be extinguished. They were a community bound by love, by the strength of their resolve, and by the timeless dance of light and shadow. And so, as the year drew to a close, they looked to the future with a sense of quiet determination, their spirits buoyed by the knowledge that they were not alone. In the heart of each villager, a flame flickered, a light that would guide them through whatever challenges lay ahead. They stood together, hand in hand, their hearts open to the promise of a new dawn, ready to face whatever the coming days might bring. The final days of the year unfolded like a gentle snowfall, each moment a delicate flake settling softly upon the tapestry of their shared lives. The villagers gathered for the annual festival that marked the turning of the year, a celebration of what had been and what was yet to come. Lanterns were lit, casting a golden glow through the square, and the air filled with laughter and song, a symphony of joy that echoed through the night. Elders shared stories of old, their voices weaving the past into the present, while children danced with abandon, their giggles a melody of pure delight. The warmth of the community enveloped each soul, a reminder that even in the deepest cold, there was a warmth that could not be measured by the seasons. As midnight approached, a hush fell over the gathering. Eyes turned skyward, drawn to the stars that adorned the night like jewels scattered across a dark velvet cloth. In that moment of silence, the village seemed to breathe as one, a single heartbeat resonating with the universe's eternal rhythm. Then, with the chiming of the clock, the villagers released their wishes into the night, each one a whispered hope carried on the wings of the wind. These dreams, fragile yet fierce, danced upwards, mingling with the starlight, a testament to the enduring spirit of humanity. And when the first light of dawn kissed the horizon, painting the world anew, the villagers knew that they had stepped into a future shaped by their courage and compassion. Together, they watched as the sun rose, gilding the snow with its golden touch, a promise of brighter days to come. In that radiant glow, they understood that the true heart of their village was not the buildings or the land, but the connections they had forged, the love they shared, and the unwavering belief in the power of hope. With hearts full and spirits lifted, they embraced the new year, ready to write the next chapter of their story, one filled with the endless possibilities that life, in all its unpredictable beauty, held for them. As the sun ascended higher, casting long, playful shadows across the snow-draped fields, the villagers turned to one another with smiles that spoke of gratitude and renewal. The air was crisp, yet warm with the camaraderie that bound them together. Children laughed as they chased the lingering echoes of the night's festivities, their voices ringing like bells through the clear morning air. Elders shared stories, their words weaving a tapestry of wisdom and memory that connected generations, ensuring that the lessons of the past would guide the steps of the future. In the quiet corners of the village, artisans returned to their crafts, inspired by the night's revelations, their hands creating beauty that echoed the newfound hope in their hearts. The village, once merely a collection of homes and paths, had transformed into a living, breathing entity, a testament to resilience and unity. It was a place where dreams were nurtured, where each sunrise brought with it the chance to begin anew, and where every sunset was a reminder of the day's shared joys and struggles. As the day unfolded, The villagers moved forward with a renewed sense of purpose, their lives intertwined like the intricate patterns of frost that adorned their windows. They understood that the world was vast and unpredictable, yet within their community lay an unwavering strength that could weather any storm. And so, beneath the endless sky, they embraced the journey ahead, knowing that together they could face whatever came their way. The village, with its heart full of hope and its spirit unbreakable, stood as a beacon of light and love, a reminder that in unity lies the true essence of humanity. In the gentle embrace of twilight, as the stars began to twinkle once more, the villagers gathered to celebrate the day, their laughter mingling with the night breeze, a melody of life and love that carried into the vastness of the universe. And in that moment, they knew they were exactly where they were meant to be, part of something greater, a story without end. As the final hues of the sunset faded into the deep indigo of night, the villagers' celebration took on a quiet reverence. They stood together beneath the starlit canopy, each twinkle above mirroring the hopes and dreams held within their hearts. The air was filled with a sense of peace, a soft understanding that their individual paths were woven into the tapestry of the village, creating a masterpiece of shared destiny. Elders shared stories of old, their voices rising and falling like the gentle waves of a distant sea, reminding the younger ones of the rich history that had shaped their community. Children, eyes wide with wonder, imagined their own adventures, dreaming of futures built on the foundations laid by those who came before them. As the night deepened, a gentle breeze whispered through the trees, carrying with it the scent of earth and life. It was as if the universe itself was breathing with them, a rhythmic pulse that echoed the resilience and harmony of their existence. In this unity, they found solace and strength, each moment an affirmation of their place in the world. The village, nestled in the embrace of nature, stood resilient and radiant, a testament to the power of connection and the beauty of shared lives. As the first light of dawn began to touch the horizon, the villagers knew that a new day awaited, full of promise and possibility. And so, with hearts full of gratitude and eyes set on the horizon, they greeted the morning sun, ready to weave new threads into the endless story of their lives. A story of hope, love, and the enduring spirit of community. The sun's rays gently kissed the village rooftops, painting them in hues of gold and amber, as if bestowing a blessing upon every home. Birds began their morning chorus, their songs weaving through the air like an intricate tapestry, a reminder of the beauty that emerged anew with each day. Elders, with laughter lines etched deeply into their faces, gathered at the heart of the village, sharing tales of wisdom and memories of bygone days. Their voices, though softened by time, held the power of ages, guiding the younger generations with stories that danced between the realms of myth and reality. Children, inspired by the dreams sparked the night before, set out on their own small adventures. They explored hidden corners of the village, discovering treasures in the form of smooth stones and delicate flowers, their imaginations transforming them into the jewels of a vast kingdom. As the day unfolded, the village pulsed with life. Fields were tended with care, every seed planted a promise of abundance. Laughter flowed as freely as the river that wound its way through the valley, binding the villagers in a shared rhythm of work and joy. As evening approached, the sky blazed with colors that defied description, a celestial masterpiece painted by the hand of the universe. Families gathered once more, sharing meals prepared with love and stories steeped in tradition. The air was filled with the warmth of companionship, every word a thread that strengthened the fabric of their community. And when the stars emerged, sparkling like diamonds against the velvet sky, the villagers knew they were part of something greater, a constellation of souls connected by time and space. They whispered their hopes and dreams to the night, trusting in the wisdom of the cosmos to guide their paths. In the quiet moments before sleep, the village breathed as one, a living testament to the enduring power of unity and the boundless potential of hope. And as they drifted into dreams, they knew that their story, woven with love and resilience, would continue to unfold, echoing through the ages, a beacon of light in an ever-changing world. The gentle lull of the night wrapped the village in a serene embrace, each heartbeat a silent promise of tomorrow. The moon, a guardian in the dark, watched over the slumbering earth, her silvery glow casting tender shadows that danced across the homes and fields. It was as if the very land itself was whispering secrets to the stars, a timeless dialogue between earth and sky. In this sacred stillness, the dreams of the villagers took flight, weaving through the tapestry of the universe. Each dream was a flicker of light, a wish upon the vast canvas of the cosmos, carrying with it the essence of those who dared to dream. And though the night was deep, the horizon held the promise of dawn, a reminder that every ending is but a prelude to a new beginning. As the first light of morning kissed the earth, the village awoke, renewed and ready to embrace the day. The cycle of life continued, an eternal rhythm that bound them to each other and to the world beyond. And so, the story of the village and its people lived on, a testament to the enduring spirit of humanity, forever reaching for the stars, forever seeking the light. In this way, their tale became a whisper on the wind, a song sung by the heart of the universe itself, echoing through time as a reminder of what it means to truly belong. And so, they carried on, ever onward, ever upward, writing their legacy in the stars. Beneath the vast, open sky, the villagers gathered once more, their hearts intertwined like the threads of an ancient tapestry. The sun climbed higher, casting golden hues across the land, illuminating the faces that held stories as old as time itself. Each smile, each line upon their brows spoke of love, loss, hope, and dreams that had danced under countless moons. The children played in the fields, their laughter a symphony of joy that echoed through the hills. Elders shared wisdom by the fireside, their voices gentle as the breeze that rustled the leaves. And somewhere in between, the dreams that had taken flight in the stillness of night found their place among the stars, guiding the villagers as they wove the fabric of their lives. As the day unfolded, the village thrived in harmony with nature, a living testament to resilience and unity. The river that wound through the valley sang its eternal song, a gentle reminder of the passage of time and the continuity of life. Birds soared above, their wings painting arcs of grace against the azure sky, symbols of freedom and aspiration. In the quiet moments, when the world seemed to pause, the villagers felt a deep connection to something greater, an understanding that they were part of a grand design, a story that stretched beyond the boundaries of their existence. It was a story written in starlight and whispered by the winds, a narrative that would endure long after their footsteps had faded. And so, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow that embraced the village in its gentle farewell, they stood together, hand in hand, hearts full of gratitude. For in their journey, they had discovered that true belonging lay not in the destination, but in the shared journey, in the simple, profound act of dreaming and living as one. With the stars as their guide and the earth as their home, they walked into the embrace of night, knowing that their story would continue to unfold in the quiet moments and the vibrant days yet to come. And in this way, they left an indelible mark upon the universe, a legacy of light, love, and dreams that would forever